In this video, we're going to take a look at interest and how interest is calculated. So anytime there's an exchange of money in the process of paying something back or rewarding a person for investing some money or entrusting some money, there's something called interest. So you have the original amount called the principal, and then you get that back with interest a lot of times, okay, or get the balance back. So the general formula we use to calculate interest, particularly simple interest, we'll start with simple interest, is that the interest is given by the principal times the rate times the time. The interest is the money that you get back, and it's usually a certain percentage of the principal, the starting amount. The P stands for principal. This is almost always a larger sum than the interest. So principal will be the largest number. So this is the amount of money that's borrowed or invested. So what is that starting amount that you're either putting into a bank account or you're borrowing from somebody? The rate is what's called the annual interest rate. It's the percent of the principal earned or paid per year. And then the time is going to be the number of years. Okay, keep in mind it's years. So what this means is that if I have 6 months, 6 months is a half a year. 3 months would be 3 out of 12. In other words, 1/4 of the year. 4 months would be 4 out of 12, would end up being 1/3 of the year. Okay, so keep in mind anything in months needs to be changed into years. So that's basically how you're going to. For example, I have a problem. And the problem states, find the interest rate earned by investing $1,000 at a 4% interest rate for 2 years. So if I'm looking for the interest, the principal, the amount I'm investing, is $1,000 at a 4% interest rate. So I'm going to multiply it by 0.04. You'll notice I turn it into a decimal for 2 years. So the time would be 2 years. So this is the principal, this is the rate, this is the time. So 1,000 times 0.04 would be 40 times 2 would be, so the interest will end up being $80. Okay. Now, this is the interest rate. If I want to look for the balance, how much money will I have in my bank account? I'm going to take the $80 that I get in interest and add it onto the principal. Okay. So in this case, I take the $1,000 I invested as principal. To that, I'm going to add the $80, so I'm going to end up with $1,080. So if I'm looking for the balance or the amount of money in an account, it's going to be the principal plus the principal times the rate times the time. So in other words, this here is basically going to be my interest. The principal plus the interest will give me the balance of the account. Okay. Another way of writing this will be the principal times 1 plus the rate times the time. Okay. Where this comes in handy is when I start to talk about what the compound interest is. So the compound interest is going to be an interest that is earned on both the principal and any interest that has been earned previously. So it recalculates that, okay, if you get a 2% interest rate on $50, at the end of 1 year, what would it be? At the end of 2 years, what would it be? At the end of 3 years, what would it be? So it starts adding up. Where simple interest is you invest the money, you get the interest on just the principal for that year. So it always keeps referring back to the $1,000 I invested, for example. For compound interest, after 1 year, you might have $1,040 in the bank because it was $1,000, you earned $40 in interest. So for the second year, instead of referring back to the $1,000, you refer to the $1,040. After 2 years, then it goes off of $1,080. So it keeps adding the interest into your account. So in order to calculate compound interest, the amount of money at any given time is going to be the principal times 1 plus r raised to the t power. So the letters still mean the same. P is your principal. The r is going to be the rate, the annual interest rate. The t is the time in the amount of years. The a will be the amount of money in the account. So what's important to remember here is this will give you the amount of money in the account, or that the amount of money that's owed, not just the interest. So if I take the same problem I did before, and I said A is going to equal the $1,000 I put into the account times 1 plus my interest rate of 0.04 raised to the time of 2 years. I'm going to have 1,000 times 1.04 being squared times the 1,000. Keep in mind 1.04 being squared. One way of writing the exponent is by using that what's called the caret key, the little kind of up signal with the squared. So in this case I get 1,000 times 1.0816, and when I multiply that, I get an answer. The amount in the account is going to be 1,081.60 cents. So while this might not seem like a whole lot of difference, simple interest was 1,080. This will give you an additional $1.60 over the course of 2 years. So this might seem insignificant, but over the course of, say, 10, 20, 30 years, that $1.60 will become, $160, $320, okay? And it builds up a little bit more. So compound interest, you definitely, if you are investing money, is a better deal. If you are owing money, it's definitely a little bit worse. But the simple interest is a little bit quicker in order to be able to calculate, and we'll give you a rough idea about what things would be. So basically, those are the two formulas you need. For compound interest, A equals the principal times 1 plus r raised to the t power. For simple interest, the interest is the principal times the rate times the time.